Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new video of Bleach Immortal Soul over here on the channel. Today I wanted to go ahead and try and do an official introduction guide to the game, talking about the different things you need to know as you start the game, as well as the things to focus on as you begin, because I think that it's very easy to neglect a lot of the things that the game wants you to really focus on. And so we're going to go ahead and start going through things. By default, I'm going to be going through a lot of different game modes, touching on the things that are important about it and what to kind of just generally spend your first couple days doing. So first of all, the way this game works and the way that every single server works is from the moment that it's made, they begin a schedule by default, and a timeline of how they're going to release these banners. And so the entire first year of every server is already planned out. And so you're not really going to find any surprises here. You're not going to get surprised by new banners or not knowing what's coming up next. And if you actually go ahead and try to join the Bleach Immortal Soul Discord over here, they have a full list of how these characters release. It starts with Shunsui, goes to Yamamoto, Toshiro, White Ichigo. They have a soul box for the first two characters, Ukiura V1, LeaIsChill in resurrected form. And it goes all the way down through a lot of characters. Ukiura V2, Face to Lord Ichigo, Zaloporo, Face to Lord Ichigo and Grimmjow's Soul Box. And so it goes all the way down to day 300 at this point, where they release Aizen, which just came out, Armored Yoruichi, and Strength Training, which is currently what's on my server, which is right here. So you can see I'm currently on day 328 technically of the server's release. And so next up, we're going to be having a soul box for Baragon and Tensei Getsu. And then after that's actually Dangai Ichigo, which I haven't updated this just yet. But that is what we know is coming up next after that. So you can kind of look at this list right here in the Discord to kind of figure out how to plan out how you're going to build your teams. A lot of the time, certain characters will stand out and will make a lot more sense on your team. So like if you're building a very bleed focused team, White Ichigo version 1 when he comes out on day 60 is like the character to go for. A lot of the time on my server, that was like the moment that a lot of people's power jumped, because White Ichigo is a character that a lot of people invested in quite heavily. On top of that, I want to say LeaIsChill Resurrected was the next one that kind of was a big jump for a lot of people. But any of these characters, once you get them up to 4-star, can be worth it and can be great members on your team. And so you can really invest in characters that you personally want to go for, as long as you read up about them inside the game and say that you want them on your team. So any character you don't have yet is automatically here at the bottom. And so let's say you're a fan of Grimmjow, for example. He's a character that releases not even on a banner itself, this Grimmjow. He releases via summon in the Soul Jade 2.0. And so it's going to take a heavy investment to get him. But when you go and look at his kit, you can see he has Execute, which is 50% extra HP when the enemy's current HP is below 30%, which is a finisher. He has an extra crit damage here. And he ends up doing a one-on-one thing where he'll gain extra stacks when he's attacking the marked target. When you look at this, if you say that's a character you want to invest in, you can try and plan around focusing on him inside, I guess, this banner. It makes less sense because he's not actually like a banner like this. I guess a better example would be looking at something like Zaloporo Resurrected or Face to Lord Ichigo, for example. Like looking at him being like, yeah, I would like a character that's good at killing characters that are lower on HP than him and has lifesteal. Then you would be able to decide that you want to save up your items for when he comes out on day 187 to 189. So you can invest in a character like LeaIsChill, for example, and then still have enough to go for Face Lord Ichigo in a couple of months after that. So trying to keep an eye on the schedule and trying to plan that out is really how you're able to get ahead. But remembering that characters in this game, you also want collection quite a bit because of initiative, which I'll talk about later inside the video. So it's a balance of trying to figure out which ones you want to go for on your main team, as well as trying to figure out which ones you're willing to skip along the way. But yeah, so that's just something I want to toss in here. Enjoy the rest of the video. When it comes to characters, there are 3 different types of characters inside the game, but a lot of them have very shared roles between them, and so you'll find a lot of characters have overlap between. So there is attacker type of characters, and they'll describe their specialties beside it. So DPS finisher for this Aizen, attack, bleed, control, cleanup for this white Ichigo, which means he bleeds people, he does silencing, and he also is good at finishing off people and then getting another skill off after that. Attacker, extreme one-row attack and unlimited rage attack means he's very good at killing one column in front of him, and then he's able to very easily get his rage back with his War Soul. And so you can kind of look at each character and look at what they're good at just by default. But then there's also characters like here, where the blue like foot thing, I like to call them like skill characters, but for the most part, it varies quite a bit. A lot of them are very different from each other. There are some that give shields, there are some that stun, there are some that reduce rage. And so he's an attacker, he burns all enemies, he stuns enemies, and especially the rage reduction makes sure that the enemy team can't use their skills on a given turn. So those things are kind of the kind of stuff you look for in building a team together. You typically want someone that can reduce the enemy rage so you don't get one shot by like the crazy ultimate they're going to use. And typically that's the last thing you want to use on a turn as well. Or stun them just to solve it. Here, same thing. But I don't use a lot of characters that are this defense type. Because something weird about it is you typically want like 1 or 2 tanks on your team, and it really depends on what you're trying to fill in. I use this Ukiura because he's like a lifesteal unit, and so for my team, he very much, because I'm high DPS, he's someone that has a lot of usage in trying to use that DPS to pull yourself back up from being almost dead, which works really well for my team until I lose one character. Meanwhile, there are a second style of specialties on top of those 3 typings that they tend to use to give a little bit more specific like descriptions of it. So if you go and look at the Black Tortoise Sage part, for example, you can see here, if we actually look at all of them. Let's just go back to the Soul Hall. So there's Azure Dragons, Vermillion Birds, White Tigers, as well as Black Tortoise type of characters. And each of them are a separate style of categorization that describes what their War Soul is going to be like and how they combo off of each other. So often, Azure Dragon characters are characters that will be able to use their skills on the first turn in a battle, and so they're good at kind of getting that momentum on the first turn and trying to build that. My Yamamoto is a character that I use to try and get that done. White Tiger characters are ones that often will combo off of getting more kills, and so when you get a kill, a lot of these characters that are White Tiger will have the War Soul that says, upon defeating or upon an ally dying or an enemy dying, recover a certain amount of rage. This one's 95 because it's fully maxed out. But you can see here, White Tigers will often get that almost every time. Some of them are only 75% for some reason, like White Ichigo. This guy has it as well, but he gets a lot more of the rage regenerated. This Azure Dragon, because he's Yamamoto, gets 1000 rage when the battle starts, so he gets his skill off in the first turn guaranteed. As well as Vermillion Bird War Soul characters are ones that often will get a lot more charge off of using their basic attacks. And so they're a lot slower to try and use, and so they're characters that you're going to need to wait a couple of turns before you can get their skill off properly. Often that's used to try and balance it out so that the super high DPS characters like this don't just spam skills from the first turn by default. On top of that, you can see even defense types can be Vermillion bird as well, and so it really depends on what the character is. If we move down to the blue tank defense stealing strike back character, which is this Ukiora, he has the black Tortoise War Soul. So every time he gets hit, he recovers 16 rage, which would go much higher if I upgraded it all the way. So definitely trying to pay attention to what each of these characters' War Souls are will let you build the team a lot better. My team, I'm very reliant on White Tiger type of characters because by default, I'd like to finish the enemy early and sweep past them so I don't even have to deal with having to take damage from them. Naturally, on things like Squad Boss, that is worth a lot less. So, I'm going to keep in mind, definitely pretty cool to kind of point out inside the game. And that's kind of how you decide on how to build your characters. I would say 1 good defense unit, 2 of the blue skill characters with abilities that complement your other units, and then 3 main DPS attackers is kind of what I run with a lot of the time. So I've seen a lot of people that just kind of abandon the defense type entirely. If they just want to go pure DPS on Squad Boss and can out DPS it. But that is depending on how high your level is, of course. Early on, you definitely want to try to build your team more balanced. And there's a lot of good free-to-play characters that are tanky. So characters like, especially, if I could find Kensei here. Kensei is a very good tanky unit. He's... the sound he made. He's tank, block, taunts. He has a very high block rate. Which especially inside this game, block chance will negate a large majority of the damage the character takes on a given turn. And that is worth a lot, especially when enemies will often one-shot you inside later versions of quests. So you're trying to make sure they attack your defensive unit, and he's taunting them so that they don't just destroy your whole squad. It also recovers magic XP on block skills, so definitely a pretty good one to work on early on. But inside this game, that's kind of what you're looking at for main characters. When it comes to trying to decide on what to do in a given day, it's very easy to look at the game modes and kind of see what they want you to do. Definitely, you get automatic challenge fairly early on in the VIP, so they want you to always be doing the Serite challenge every day. Not only when you sweep this do you get a pretty good amount of Megatamas by default, get 150 off of just the sweep during the day, but if you also, first of all, select through all of these and get the ones that work best for you. Often I just go for pure crit chance and attack for my main characters, or attack increases like this War Tiger War Banner, or White Tiger War Banner. Just trying to focus on things that keep your characters alive, increase your DPS, and allow you to kill them within the first turn or two, because they get stronger and stronger as you go on. Allows you to beat Nightmare Mode, and Nightmare Mode is especially difficult and gives you an extra 150 Megatamas per day. So I'd honestly say that this game mode here is a very high priority one. I early on didn't really do too much about it, and frankly, I kind of regret it because your income increases by 300 full Megatamas per day, which really stacks up. That's at least a full single by default. On top of that, they have these dispatch missions like Reinvoke used to have. Pretty much you just claim all, quick deploy, and you're done for the day. It's just a once per day type of thing where you get free money, you get EXP potions, a couple of shards of a character you don't really care about too much, and the spiritual practice stuff, which helps you improve soul halls. Soul halls are complicated. We'll talk about them properly after, but I want to kind of work through all of this as we go. On top of that, Extreme Challenge is a very important game mode that you should be working on as far as you possibly can every single day. I kind of plateaued where I am right now because of how hard things are. Initiative is a very important thing inside this game, and so you can see here, my initiative is 9836, and the enemies is 9999, and so I'm not actually able to beat this quest because they go first by default, and a lot of their skills will freeze or stop my characters from moving, and don't allow me to actually get my combos off the way that I want to, because I build my team very combat heavy and very combo heavy. And so definitely, let's actually go look at initiative now, because initiative will affect all 5 of these game modes. So no matter what you're doing, initiative will be an overarching problem for you if you don't focus on it. A lot of the whales on my server will often cite, oh my god, I gotta claim all these now. Actually got LeaIsChill earlier today. They will cite this right here as the main thing you should be focusing on early on, especially inside Arena. The person that has the higher initiative will always go first. And so you'll be able to start that combo, and any character you kill on the first turn because you had higher initiative is instantly going to make you more likely to win inside Arena. And so naturally, you're trying to outpace everyone else on your server in your initiative, trying to stay just that one step above them. And one step above the normal quests as well, naturally, but Arena especially. And the way you increase initiative is you would give these characters, certain characters get bonuses from certain ones. So like humans will get bonuses from sunglasses and blue CDs and jazz CDs and stuff. Huecamundo characters get bonuses from Las Noches replicas, and females will get better stuff from this. It's also Vizords, apparently. But every single character that you give an item to inside this game mode will increase your initiative, and your team initiative is affected by every character you get. So every single new unlock of a character, including any random SSRs you pick up along the way, even if they're only 2-star, will affect your entire team. Oh my god, my piercing just fell off. Well, guess I'll fix that after. Fuck me. But this will affect your entire team forever. And so every single day you're trying to kind of max these out and even them off so that they're all at least purple, I want to say. So you can try and get to at least 10,000, I would say, as your default for 370 in Extreme Challenge. But when early on, like any penny pinching you can do to try and get more initiative is worth it. And so when a new character comes to my server, like LeaIsChill, typically I'll try and always get them up to 2-star, since I kind of learned about initiative, because if a character is 2-star, they're already affecting your initiative by default. And so even if you didn't really invest in them too much, it's still worth it to have them on hand for that. Definitely very worth it. On top of that, I always buy 5 staminas a day, up to the cost of 80, because you're trying to level up quite fast. A lot of the late game quests that you're doing and a lot of the chapters you're trying to move towards are just only open once you get to a certain level. And so often you're trying to power up your characters, but you're also trying to fucking fight this video game to let you play more of the game itself. And so level 89 right now has me stuck for a while at the very least. And naturally dailies are the main way to try and work on that XP daily to try and get faster and faster through those levels and get further. So definitely a lot of things to focus on in general, trying to up your power. And you kind of got to take a full idea of everything inside the game to be able to know what to work on primarily. On top of this, just taking a quick look at the events every day to see what's currently ongoing. These ones aren't too important. Soul Jade rebates are really good. They come around often on most banners that come around. So if you want to spend your Soul Jades, you want to save it for times where these are available. But on top of that, they have a lot of events that are focused around gacha. So this right here is a separate draw that allows you to pull for gear, allows you to pull for things to exchange for not only like these weapons for characters to awaken them properly, the emblems for characters to get them their bonds that they need, their tomes that they need, and also you can exchange for any of these, including awaken essences, which are all worth it to upgrade your characters. So this draw is really important, and you can save up the little tokens they give you off of your dailies. You can see I have 59 right now for when a rebate for this gacha comes out. And so you can get a lot of items back during those gacha rebates by saving those items for then. So often you don't really want to spend anything unless there's an event that gives you something back for it. So this Soul Jade rebate would be when you want to spend your Megatamas to get more back. The Gacha rebate is when you want to spend all of those Gacha things so you can get more and be able to spend on whatever character you're trying to work on at the moment. Naturally, these are just things that happen every day. You don't really need to look at it too much. A lot of the time, just sweeping past quests will give you a lot of these items. And these don't really matter that much either. Every day, you can see here it says Midas Hand Rewards. Basically what that is just clicking on this little button here, clicking on free, clicking on free. I personally don't spend beyond that. I've seen people that do end up spending the extra 5 times because when you do, you can get quite a few items from this, especially the Omni Shards, just from spending on it, but the money honestly isn't that high, and so I don't really find it that worth it. So, meh, honestly, in my opinion. Additionally, if you're not logged into the game, it'll always be idly exploring for you, and so you get items every day. That'll just be like random pouches. The quests you've already beaten will give you random items from it. A lot of good stuff there. Next thing I want to talk about, before I go and touch on the talent part of the game, I want to go into the squad game mode and tell you guys how important it is to be inside a very good squad when you first start. So first of all, you can pray to each one of these, and every one of the people inside the guild give money to these different donation goals to be able to get better items during the week. This one right here will increase the squad size. This one right here will increase the seed officers, which is less important. It's literally just like having people labeled seed officer, you know, doesn't really matter that much. There's members, which increases the capacity of the guild. Free resets, which is really important, which ours is maxed out. And emblem probability, which is something we're still working on, which I'm personally going to toss my money towards today. Which is potentially the most important thing for new players, because that is what decides on you getting shards of UR Aizen every single day. So UR Aizen is a character that is very sought after, and it'll take a long time to get him. You can see here, I have a 9% rate on every one of these emblems, and I got 5 in total out of the 6 that are here every single day. And so it'll give you a couple of resets, which you want to just keep on resetting until you get, hopefully, a fully maxed out one of these. Please give me the shard. I'm going to reset again. I'm going to reset again. I need this to do the showcase. I just spent more Megatamas than I ever have on this. So you get a certain amount of emblems every day. And if you get 6, you get a 1 shard of Aizen from each of them. What that means is you need 150 shards of Aizen to be able to get him by default. So you will unlock him at 4-star, so that's really, really good for him. That will take you a long time. If your rate, if you get like 1 a day for 150 days, it's going to take you the full amount of time to get him unlocked. And so it is something very stressful. It'll take you a long time to unlock him officially, but once you do, he is a character that a lot of people have put on their main teams as well, just because of how good he is. And so this game mode is one you want to do every single day. Even if you don't do your dailies every single day, you want to go in and pray to this to try and get your Aizen shards. And definitely, I tried to focus on this early on to try and get him, because he is a very good character. He's a mostly DPS unit that focuses on debuffs, so he debuffs defense on enemy characters. Additionally, this will give you more money every day, as well as the prestige, which you can spend then on the Serite shop. I usually just go for the War Soul of Crippling, because that's like the best one out of here. But frankly, this shop isn't that great. They have a lot of better ones. And every single day I usually do my squad boss, though the rewards are mostly just to try and get more of... I actually don't even see it here. Mostly to try and get more of the like War Soul upgrading items for me personally. I hear they're going to be releasing a new squad boss that isn't just a Minos Grande. It's been a Minos Grande for the full year at this point, but I don't know. They're just kind of sitting here with the same old strat. And a lot of the time, that's just a DPS race. Just as much damage as you can do as possible every single day. And so when looking at a character, and you're trying to look at what you want to upgrade on them, there are many things you can focus on and many things you can try and work towards. Me personally, I've been focusing very hard on my main TPS unit, which is this Aizen's ban. And so the way the stars work inside this game, it goes yellow 1 through 5, and you upgrade them using these awaken essences, which you have to use a very high amount of them. It goes like 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, and then it resets, I think. I think it's like 16, 16 for the last two. So it goes all the way to yellow 5-star, and then it goes to red stars. And so it goes red 1 through 5 as well, which also costs a very high amount, 1 through 16. And then it goes to rainbow stars, which is a much higher amount of them. But once you get to rainbow stars, that weapon will do a lot better for you. And honestly is something that is very imperative on the most important characters. You can see here, if we actually look at this, there's also a prismatic green here that I'm working towards that I will end up getting eventually. So that's what these stars are technically going to be called, prismatic green stars, which is sick as fuck. But definitely, you want to try to focus on your main DPS all the way. I typically average around 3-star yellow on a lot of the other characters I use on my team. It's really hard to split up the investment in these characters because of how much it costs to upgrade them. But certain characters need more HP. Like this one you can see here, I needed the HP and defense for sure. This character, he doesn't really need the HP and defense. He's not really a character I struggle with having him survive, so I don't really upgrade him that much. And so, kind of playing it by ear in that case. But looking at these, you definitely want to try to invest in them in a way where you can comfortably split your resources well. And trying to get your most important character as far as you possibly can. Now here, I'm actually going to go ahead and sweep with all my stamina I bought for today for this head captain stone. Trying to get him up to red +5 still. Next up, we're going to talk about War Souls. This is one that I wanted to talk about for a little while. It's kind of default or difficult to talk about because there's so many different War Souls that all have different purposes. And so reading the effect of the War Soul is really how you're going to be able to find out how good it is. The more text a War Soul has, often the better it becomes. Bleach Immortal Soul has a bad habit with that, where characters that are more complicated will tend to do a shit ton better. You can see here, increases Soul Bearer's attack by 12% plus 3%. So that plus 3% is because it's equipped to an attack specialty character, which you can end up getting by reforging them into a certain typing. So I have a defense specialty one on this guy, and so he has an extra 244 attack there, 195 there, bleed damage plus 12% there. So you want to try to reforge them so that they fit the character you're trying to equip them to as well. And it'll cost you 4 of the Awaken Essences and the Soul Orbs that are fairly rare, and so you want to try to keep them on hand for the ones you care about the most. And then these second War Souls will always be ones you have to equip that are based on other characters. So you can't actually replace this slot that this Uryu one is with like a random War Soul of the Eye, for example. It has to be a character-based one. And so you can see here I have Uryu, I have the attack specialty version of this Jushiro, I have Zangetsu on this guy, and the way that you make those is you have to combine them from using the shards of those characters and those passes of those characters and turn them into an actual War Soul by using those shards. So even after you get Aizen, for example, in order to get his War Soul and upgrade it, you need to make it like this. And it comes in a blue, but if I combine it, I actually want to make one of his. So I'm going to do that right now by default. But once you do make it, it can only be equipped to the second slot of the characters. And in order to promote it further, first you need to give it upgrades to get it up to the max star, which I think is 4 for a blue type. Actually, no, it's 3 for a blue type. Yeah, so not a huge deal. But because of that, you can see here, it's my email popping off. We can see here, this is the star maxed, and then at the point where it's star maxed, then you would be able to promote it beyond that. And when you promote the ones that are character shard based, it would make you use another, 50 shards of the character to get it to purple, and then 120 of the shards to get it to gold. And so it's going to take a very heavy investment, but some of the best ones to equip to characters I find is Uryu, Jushiro, and Zangetsu. I haven't used the Aizen one yet, so I don't actually know how good it is. On paper, reading it right there, like we were just talking about a second ago, if I actually read it like this, oh my god, I'll close my email. Jesus. Increase Soul Bearer's attack by 233, HP by 2441. Soul Bearer's rage skill drains a percentage of the target attack and defense in last 2 rounds. That sounds very good. I feel like at gold, that would be a very good one to invest in. I just don't have enough for it right now. But this Uryu is really good. Increases Soul Bearer's attack by 1500 plus 12%. Mastery skill damage is increased by 50% and has a 40% chance to bleed. So not only does it increase your skill by a straight 1.5 times, it increases your default attack and adds an additional 40% bleed, of which this character doesn't even have built in right now. Characters like this White Zangetsu have stuff like bleed built in already. I use him for bleed because of how good that is. But this guy then gets a bonus ability to stack that and gets more as part of my team synergy because he has the extra bleed on it, which is very effective. Definitely one of the best War Souls in the game, and I want to try to reforge it to make it into an attack type very soon. So one of the ones I would invest in definitely is Uryu. Top tier War Soul, definitely very worth going for. Same thing with this Jushiro. When I read it for the first time, I was like, this sounds fucking broken. Increase Soul Bearer's attack by 15,000, plus 12%, which is just good, plus a specialty, which I have already. During the normal attack phase, every 4 ally attack releases heals that heals the Soul Bearer for 50%, plus 12.5% of the attack as HP. Increases damage rate by 10% plus 2.5 and regenerates 100 plus 25 rage. So every normal attack on the 4th hit of the normal attack, of which his skill allows him to do a lot of swings, he will heal himself by 50% of his attack, plus a bonus, increase his own damage rate, and get more of his rage back for next turn to be able to use his rage skill and continue his combos for next turn. So definitely, this one is one that really builds on combos. I feel like it would work very well for Vermillion style characters especially. So like this War Soul of the Tides would probably work really well on LeaIsChill if I used it on her. Fortunately, I just haven't unlocked her slot here. In order to get this 3rd slot in the first place, you have to do 10 Awakened Essences and 15 of the character shards, which I haven't just put into her yet. I've done that for Yamamoto, I've done that for Aizen, done that for all these characters, of course. But for War Souls, you're trying to find things that build on your current synergy, increase your damage rate, provide heals to your characters, as well as just stack alongside what you already use and work well. Crit chance and crit strength are things that are very important for characters like Kenpachi. Armored Yoruichi will do really well with crits like that. This Aizen focuses very heavily on crits, but I use the War Soul of Ashura because it has that extra little bit of initial rage, which helps a lot with this character. I just unequipped it accidentally. The initial rage is worth more to me than the crit strength that's on this War Soul of Crit. So I use that instead of Aizen's. So it's kind of making those little adjustments and deciding on what you want to do for your characters. But definitely a lot of active thought can go into these builds in trying to understand what you want to do with your team. So I think I have one more thing I want to touch on, and then I'm pretty much done with the beginner's guide for today. A lot of these things, you just kind of gotta keep an eye on things. You should look at the bonds for characters that you want to invest in to be able to see if it's worth investing in them. Personally, all I need to do right now is get the last Eisen that hasn't been released yet to get this guy's last bond. And so characters you want to use actively on your main team, you're going to just want to try and make sure you prioritize getting their full bonds. You can see here I missed Ishin and Tensei Getsu, so I lost the last couple of bonds for this guy. For Kenny, I have all of his bonds together, which is really good. Definitely. Every single bond you get will increase the character's power by a good 15%, which is really, really high. Additionally, I'm missing Wonderweiss here, which is a major hit to his HP. So just keeping an eye on that. But the last thing I wanted to talk about is looking at talents of characters. Now, most of the characters you pull from the gacha won't really matter that much. A lot of them are just like percentages for our Rankar characters. Attack of male characters, block stuff, extra block strength there, character healing. All characters deal 1% more damage to their rage skill. All very good, but they're very minimal increases. The ones you really want to keep an eye out for is characters like Hiyori especially. In Squad Boss, all characters gain rage faster by 1.5%. Which does stack up quite fast, and it affects your team even when she's not on the team, which is really important. In non-PvP game modes, attack defense HP of all characters by 1.4, and he's a character you get by default, this Ichigo. Definitely a character you want to get the talent up for sure. And there's a certain one I wanted to look at. I know it's Omaida by default, is one of the ones. Damage over time allies received is reduced by 1.5%. It's really good. Oh, yeah, Shuhei is one of them. 2 Midas touches after your free ones cost 40% less soul jades. And so that cheapens the amount that Midas touches cost in a day. So if you're planning on spending on Midas touch and trying to keep up with that, you want to try to get this character as far as you can, I suppose. I'm actually going to go ahead and toss that in now. So you can try and save as many Megatamas in a day. You can see it went down to 10 instead of 15 now. By focusing on the talents of these characters that do have that built in. Characters that also matter. Gin will give you more Soul Society Order yield. So 5.5% more items equals an extra 5.5% multiplier on all items you get from Soul Society Orders, which is your dispatch quests for the day, which is a really sizable increase. It's definitely one of the ones you want to work on early. Let's keep on looking. There's certain ones that stand out especially. This one's less important, not really important, not really important. This one's important. Soul Society Orders, 1.1% more gold. Less important, I'd say. Kind of a low multiplier, frankly. Serite Challenge yields 6% more Serite coins. Can be good if you need that. Character received, nope. Soul Society Orders give character XP 6% faster. What that means is it decreases the dispatch time, which is much less important. Not really one you want to focus on. Serite Challenge, Kenpachi Contest. Nemu. First 2 stamina purchases of the day is increased by 60%. And so it usually costs 40 by default on each one of them. I think it decreases it to like 18 for the first couple, which is worth a lot. And so she's one of the ones you want to focus on early for talents especially, because that'll save you a lot of Megatamas in the day and by default, frankly. Recover 3 extra stamina per hour with this Chad is really good because it'll increase your idle exploration time and it'll decrease it and let you get more items in the day by default. Master skill damage. Midas touch has a small chance to crit 2 times and total crit rate is increased by 4%. So what that means is anytime you hit Midas touch, it can give you an extra like ×2 rewards on what you end up hitting. So that can be good, but it's definitely one of the ones you want to invest in early because by default, you're doing Midas touch twice a day anyway. Master skill damage increased by 60% or 6% is pretty good, honestly. I kind of want to toss that in there to increase that. Extreme challenge, not that important. Damage rate, block, squad boss, Battle Arena. Charity Challenge, 2% more. Could be good. Frankly, I'd honestly spend on that. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade those now. Squad Boss yields 2% more prestige. Sure, I will take that. I already have that. Just remember, anytime you get a new character as well, you have to make sure you unlock their like talent by default. It's not automatically unlocked. Extreme Challenge, PvP modes, female characters. Attack of Soul Reapers by 1.7% could be quite good for a lot of characters, and mastery skill damage. So I would say Shuhei, Gin, Nemu, and Omaida are like the really high priority ones. And so trying to keep an eye on them and getting those invested in early on is a great way of trying to get your account kind of built up early and spending less early so that you can save more Megatamas for the banners you want to spend on. And by default, you can't get a character from a banner unless you have either 60 of these Soul Jades, or you're able to do pretty much, yeah, 6 multis. 6 multis would be 12,000 Megatamas or so. So it is a pretty heavy investment, even for 2-star. But once you get them 2-star, you can easily pop in the Omni Shards. And I personally try and get the characters to 4-star to get them usable. So a lot of this game is preparing to know what characters you want to invest in, which at the beginning of the video, I tossed in a segment talking about what the schedule is for this game. You can join the Bleach Immortal Soul Leaks Discord to be able to learn about what the schedule is and what's coming up next on your server. For my server personally, it goes Yoruichi, about a month-long break, and then Dangai Ichigo, which is going to be the next character I'm investing in up to 4-star. And he looks absolutely fucking nutty. He looks crazy. He looks super cool and very OP with a lot of crit. So I'm looking forward to trying to get that all sorted. But that has been the beginner's guide for Bleach Immortal Soul. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I did a lot of talking today, but hopefully you guys have a good perspective of what this game is all about now. It's a unique game, I would say. The thing that I would say is closest to it is My Hero Ultra Impact, which is currently a JP only game. But once it comes over to global, I think that's going to be a far more popular game than this one is. Just because Bleach already has other games that are available that a lot of people already play. And Immortal Soul honestly didn't really pick up that momentum. A lot of the people that play it right now are the ones that are already invested in it and have been playing for a full year. 1-year anniversary was like a month ago at this point. But definitely pretty worth it. I really enjoy the game personally. And I just enjoy doing the dailies. It's very chill. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if there's anything that you personally think that I missed if you play the game yourself and you personally think that should stand out. And that's going to be it from me. Thanks for watching. Take it easy, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks so much, and bye for now. See you later, guys.